Hey everybody, this is Marcel with IrnieracingNews. I want to read a comment that came on the Ebus crash video. So here's the intro of my video.
News in British Columbia. That's the passenger bus rollover on Hwy97C in the BC interior yesterday.
Okay, so let's check out this comment. It's kind of some relevant knowledge here from a bus driver. Here we go, LG, 5 hours ago. How devastating for all involved, and especially for families who have lost loved ones. As a 35-year professional motor coach operator, I have to say that I'm not all that surprised to see that this happened. Last year, I rode the Ebus over that route between Kelowna and Vancouver. It just happened that was the time the highways all got washed out. We were caught between slides for 4 nights. The driver had started his day in Vancouver earlier this morning. Due to the events that took place, the driver ended up well exceeding his HOS, hours of service. Despite this, the company instructed him to carry on. Once a point of safety is reached, DOD regulations, 14 hours combined on duty plus driving plus proper rest at prescribed intervals, are absolutely strict on not going beyond these limitations or traveling any further. During the trip, I got to chat with a driver and then another one who also got stranded in the same location. Neither had a lot of motor coach highway driving experience. Learning this only confirmed my initial apprehensions about traveling with this company, Ebus. They pay low wages and unfortunately often do not attract the most competent drivers. Another factor is that they terminated any of their drivers who would not comply with the mandatory Trudeau vaccine mandate. They were already scrambling to find drivers to fill seats. How much more after implementing this? I would never ride Ebus or any other intercity company's bus again. They can say that they put their drivers through stringent training. However, that training is pretty minimal. The boxes may be ticked off, but the reality is the standard for which drivers are hired and then put out on highways is nowhere near what they used to be. Yeah, so there you have it, guys. Some inside knowledge, some insight from a 35-year driver who specifically talked to a bus driver in a similar situation, over driving. We've heard this for truck drivers, for many jobs where there's dangers, there's limitations, because we all know how tired we get. And when you're working for a company, you can't just pull over and stop. They need to be switching drivers, like in Merritt. The bus comes to Merritt, a new driver gets on from Merritt, takes it to Vancouver, comes back, they switch back in Merritt, etc., to not exceed their allotment. So this is Marcel Irnie Racing News, guys. Just keeping you guys informed. Thanks for commenting as well. Look at this. There's a reason you need your wipers up. Look at this. This is freezing rain. Look at this. This is pure ice. And we got the poles out walking. So yeah, because it rained ice. It was raining ice. It would come down and turn to ice, and it becomes all the roads that all these hiking paths. Doesn't matter if things were plowed, they were concrete yesterday. You're just layering frozen water, freezing water everywhere. So you saw the car and you saw this. Tragic news on the highway between Kelowna and Merritt. There was a bus that went over just on Christmas Eve last night. 56 people went to the hospital. 4 people died on the Ebus. And it's so ironic because my mom was just saying earlier, it's like, oh, if you don't want to drive, you know, you can jump on the Ebus. Or my brother's vehicle needed to go mechanic, jump on the Ebus. And then just the exact same day that I was thought about, even told Dr. G about, hey, you can jump on the Ebus. I even told her that after you told it me. I'm like, oh yeah. And then yeah, 4 people dead on the Ebus on the highway. And I drove by just 2 hours earlier.
We now can tell you that there have been multiple fatalities and injuries. The highway known as the Okanagan Connector was closed in both directions. It is now back open between West Kelowna and Aspen Grove.
Multiple casualties. The passengers were taken to 3 different hospitals in the area. That 8 people still remained injured in hospital, 2 of them seriously.
All of us want our family to be safe, and they want to be with us during the holidays. There's been a number of flights canceled to get people to places like Vancouver, so people were probably trying every which way to get there. And Ebus is an important service that links the interior to the lower mainland, and it just breaks your heart. I drive that road very, very often as Member of Parliament to make it to places like Merritt and Loon Lake. And I will tell you that the conditions can change very suddenly. Everything from fog suddenly coming across the road for certain parts to wind and snow drifts that will appear. It's very well maintained, but again,
So there's 2 photos that I took going from Kelowna to Merritt for Christmas with my family out here. And if I had taken the Ebus, if I had taken my mom's advice, there was a probable chance I would have been on the exact same Ebus. It was around the 6 o'clock one, I believe. Of course, you know, but I drove in the day knowing I was going to drive the truck camper. I have studs on the dually and, you know, and driving experience. So I was... And I even phoned my brother, like he drove before me, and I asked him what the conditions were like. And he said on the way down to Merritt, it goes from snowy roads up high to freezing rain. And so he told me that right when I was leaving Kelowna. And I'm like, all right, you know, just got to take it slow. And I have studs. It makes a difference on the ice. Just don't get your speed up too much, right? Keep it manageable, like 80K most of the trip instead of 110 or 120, which is the speed limit. And that's where the bus apparently crashed, rolled on its side, was getting closer to Merritt at Loon Lake, the Loon Lake exit, which is a rest stop. And so, you know, it's just happy we made it. But unfortunately, for some people, it's ruined not just Christmas, but a life, multiple lives. Something to add is about the road maintenance aspect of it. So near Kelowna, I'm not sure on the contract, but a company called AIM. So they took over with the lowest bidder to do infrastructure maintenance for the Kelowna. When the plows and everything used to be run by the provincial government and owned. So it's just, this is another government dropping the ball and giving, you know, the parks and etc. maintenance done by private companies any private company's biggest incentive is to maximize profits. It's just like the city bus in Kelowna. I don't know if you know, but Kelowna's city buses are now owned and run by a private company. The Kelowna Transit, owned by the city, sold it off to get instant bonus money for them, profits for long-term loss for the city, the Kelowna residents, and for the whole poor quality of the future services. And so in terms of the quality of plowing on the highway, that could be something for debate and for research. I have one person who spoke out about the plowing from Penticton to Kelowna on this subject, and how last night there was still only 1 lane each way. Why are the plows not keep going back and forth to clear the road more than 1 lane so people can make safe passes? And so again, here's a photo of it. Is this a question of the private sector service not living up to what the contract is stating? Or is this just road conditions and they didn't have time to get back, you know, based on all the other variables? And so in terms of the e-buses, we have several variables. Road conditions, are they not properly maintained? You know, salting, sanding the roads. They have to sand the roads, not just plow them, and plow them a certain amount of times. So when I drove over the connector from Kelowna to Merritt and past the Loon Lake where it was turning to ice from freezing rain, the freezing rain was already known for several hours, at least 2 hours, because my brother had freezing rain around 2 o'clock and I was coming down around 4 o'clock as it was just getting dark, and then the bus was coming down around 6 p.m. So there was 2, 4, 6 hours that they could have had a gravel truck drive and sand at just the last quarter, the last fifth of the highway when you get from Loon Lake to Merritt. So it's an hour highway. It's an hour, just over an hour drive from Kelowna to Merritt. And the last section, there was plenty of time for a sanding plow truck to lay down some sand, which could have saved these 4 people's lives and 52 other injuries. So something to think about. And I never saw a single plow on the highway. When you drive past, there's usually plows on the side of the roads parked. There's sand gravel pits along the road. I personally never witnessed any plow. Another very important topic to think about and consider in the problems with this and many other things in our country is because of Trudeau's mandates, which we all know, even CensorTube, you can speak about it now because it is known, because the Pfizer CEO said on camera that they never tested for.
Was the Pfizer COVID vaccine tested on stopping the transmission of the virus before it entered the market? If not, please say it clearly. If yes, are you willing to share the data with this committee? And I really want a straight answer, yes or no, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Regarding the question around, did we know about stopping immunisation before it's entered the market? No. We had to really move at the speed of science to really understand what is taking place in the market. And from that point of view, we had to do everything at risk.
Have you taken the vaccine, sir?
No, I haven't taken it yet. This year, we will have around 50 million doses available, of which most of them have already been manufactured. So the doses are there available. Next year, we will do 1.3 billion doses.
If you don't get vaccinated, you're antisocial. This is what the Dutch Prime Minister and Health Minister told us. You don't get vaccinated just for yourself, but also for others. You do it for all of society. That's what I said. Today, this turned out to be complete nonsense. In a COVID hearing in the European Parliament, one of the Pfizer directors just admitted to me, at the time of introduction, the vaccine had never been tested on stopping the transmission of the virus. This removes the entire legal basis for the COVID passport. The COVID passport that led to massive institutional discrimination as people lost access to essential parts of society. I find this to be shocking, even criminal.
These mandates, why are these private companies mandating something with no logic, no science behind it, that people have to be jabbed so they can drive your buses? And how many employees were fired? So again, lack of drivers driving more than they should, possibly, we don't know. But these are things that need to be investigated. And so who's investigating this? Something that comes to my mind is like, I'm pretty sure there is lap belts on all these buses. So obviously nobody's wearing the seat belts. And so is that something that would have helped in a situation when you roll onto your side, you would stay in your seat as long as the seats stay into the base of the frame where they're bolted onto? So there's another variable as well. As the comment mentioned, is how fast are these buses going? Are they trying to make time schedules? What are the pressures by the bosses? And what is the pay? What is the training? What are the skill sets? So anyways, guys, news for thought, Irnie Racing News.